Slugging Leon's a decent idea. He could have DS. I worry that he still has DS. Yeah, I would have. Okay, so this is why I tell people, like, everybody, like, oh, I tunnel the survivors if they body block and things like that. At this point, like, Ash just healed again. Good Lord, he's been healing for a while. I would have chased the Ash down and left the Leon down, because if the Leon's down, he's out of commission. If you're chasing the Ash, he's out of commission. And that means that somebody else has to go get the Leon up. He might have Unbreakable, but assume the best, right? Which means only one person could be on a gen. So I would have... Oi, YouTube. It is super good to see you today. Thank you for being here. Of course, unclench your jaw and get some water. Today, we are bringing a gameplay review for the perspective of Blight. If you're a Blight player, Blight's very hard to play. He's got a high skill ceiling, and I'm excited to talk about that a little bit today. But before we dive in, one, be sure you hit the subscribe button. Only 15% of my viewers are subscribed. Be sure that we can get that number just a little bit higher. Help me out, please. And of course, if you guys did not know, you could submit your gameplay to be reviewed here in our Discord server. It's also in the description. You just go and go to the DVD match review, upload a YouTube video. Be sure you get it beginning to end. If there's a little bit extra at the beginning, that's good. That's fine. I could scrub through it. Be sure there is no voice chat of you and your friends shit talking the local bully who stole your lunch money. All right, I ain't trying to hear it. I'm trying to hear the sweet cries of Cheryl on the hook. Anyway, we're gonna go and dive into this one, and we're gonna see what is up. So this is our Blight from Mr. Panda in the Discord. So let's take a look and see all about their video. Now this one, like I said, it does start off without any sort of, like, I don't know exactly where they spawned. So it's kind of a tough spot to figure stuff out. What I will say is, based on where they spawned, it looks like they're kind of poking around for where survivors are. Haddonfield's kind of a weird one, but it doesn't look like they're necessarily looking for a 3-gen or like, oh, is there 3 gens I could really defend here? And as killer, be sure that you're looking for the 3 gens that you could easily defend. If there was like 1 gen just a little bit off to the side in the road or something like that, you could kind of have this pseudo 3. And on Haddonfield, you kind of need that advantage. So we'll see kind of how this goes. But be sure you're panning around. It looks like they finally turned. Not a good like gen spread. Peeking around for survivors. No add-ons. We are using Corrupt Intervention. We do have some scratches. So we have Pop, Barbecue, No Way Out. I'm not sure what that was. If you're trying to bait a head-on, walking directly in front of the lockers, not a great idea. Of course, in Haddonfield, it's really easy for somebody to lay down scratch marks and then just sort of hide in any number of places. I will say you're definitely not getting the most out of your bounces that you could be getting. You kind of take a sort of pseudo-strange angles. I think it's on accident, right? Like, I don't know that you know there's a hedge here, so when you bounce, you don't expect to bounce, like, to have to, like, weave through this whole mess. But, like, if you were checking this out, it'd be easier to bounce out towards the truck and then bounce that way. Just, you know, fewer tokens to have to recover in the event that you do find somebody is always smart. You got to, like, think ahead about that. There have been a few times where you've wasted, like, 2 or 3 tokens just trying to get out of this, like, little cobbled area, so be careful. Not a bad attempt there. I think that if I were you, and this is tough because hooks are weird, I would have maybe tried to bounce the hook and then go left, like trying to think like not next step ahead, like, oh, she's there, I swing unga bunga, but like bounce then go and then try that. Maybe that would have been like a little bit more fruitful. Then there was a pallet, so she could have, you know, stunned you over here, but simultaneously maybe she wouldn't have thrown it. It's hard to know, but simultaneously you could also like bounce. You could try to bounce the truck. You only got 1 token left, so anyway, I don't know that swinging here was the best play. I mean, it was a good one. There's no way you were gonna be able to like wrench that far over. She had some advantage. Be careful moonwalking. If you moonwalk where there's a window, they're just gonna see you moonwalk. You literally moonwalk in front of them. You're like, hello, like this. She could see you moonwalking. You're not deceiving anybody here. So be sure that like moonwalking, great instinct, good instinct to have. A freaking plus. There's a window. She's like, what are you doing? So I don't know that Alexa, get out of here. Nobody likes you. Oh, Cortana. So you're the same thing to me. Yeah, I don't know that I would moonwalk there. I don't think that makes sense. Really good window swing. I don't know. Some, newer players wouldn't take that swing. So really good job going around. That was a dead hard. She dead hearted. So if you're confused as to like what happened there, I get it. So one I think is really smart. You went around so that you could cut her off from like holding W all the way like down the side of the houses. This is called the House of Pain because it's got that basement with like a set of stairs, a wall, another set of stairs, and the pallet. And you're basically, there's like a window at the top of the stair. It's a whole nightmare. It's called the House of Pain because it's pain for killers. This is kind of her huge mistake. And this is a panic dead hard. And you can kind of see for like I don't even know if I could pause it on the frame, but you can see there's one frame of dead hard. There it is. See, that's the dead hard. Unfortunately, she does scream. That's just the nature of the dead hard validation. But one thing to always do is like get in the habit as killer right now, get in the habit of when you swing and hit somebody, watch the HUD. The good news here is like you paid attention, but also you like saw her. So I don't know if you could have necessarily like, you maybe could have hit that, but it's going to be hard to tell. Good job. That's a really good way to respect the pallet. I usually say don't respect pallets too hard, but you made it look like up until the last second, like your red stain right now is like all aglow right on this. So you made it very convincing that you were about to try to walk through and then you back out. So that's good. If you do, like, there's no need to take a stun every time. Okay, so that's one thing we're gonna definitely need to work on. So this was super smart. If you bounce right here, let me move my face. If you bounce in this tiny area down here, then you slide through and you get her. Super smart. But what ends up happening, and if we watch it in a little bit slower, kind of, 0.5, what ends up happening is you end up turning too tight and you bounce off that. And that's because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Blight, most of the time, he's good with angles, right? So you could kind of skim at this angle, but once it gets a little too tight, this angle is like bad. Like this is no. It's the closer you get to almost that 45-degree angle. That's 45, right? Because that's 90. Yeah. So the closer you get to like a 45-degree angle, the more likely this is going to be a problem. What I would get in the habit of, and I think I see you do this later in the match, is looking down. When you look down, you're less likely to collide. And then at this point, this sucks. This is like the issue with Blight. You just kind of bounced off the nothingness. Yeah, you just kind of bounced off nothing, which is not your fault at all. What I maybe would have done, so this is a good idea had this not been such a tight space. Like this would be a good idea at like Auto Haven Wreckers. I maybe would have bounced here and then tried to go for it. It's all a pretty huge gamble. But this is good. This is a really good starting tendency to have. So like kudos for even like trying it. And then you tried to bring it back, and that's good too. That's smart. Okay, yeah, breaking it. Yeah. Okay. So first, like one thing I just want to say is like don't make assumptions. It definitely seems like oh, this would be the smart play. Like go to the House of Pain, of course. Like I don't know why she actually went this way. However, you got to be sure you're using your eyes and seeing like, oh, she's there. Okay. Like she's already past the point where she could have gone in. So be sure you don't like handicap yourself a little bit too much by going around, or just by assuming where they're going to go. Killers at one point, we get smart enough where we're like, oh, they're going to go this way for sure. And then of course we don't. That was decent. So if you'd had the idea like 0.2 seconds sooner, that would have been super sick. So here's how I would have done this. I would have bounced here, which this is a wide enough tree that I'm not worried necessarily, but you could also bounce for this, right? And try to hit that. Instead, what happens is you kind of go through her and you go for this, and then by that point, she gets to go around, right? But if you'd gone bounce, hit, or bounce, hit. So try to look at everything you have at your disposal. It definitely requires that you're like, your eyes are darting around everywhere and you're really like, but yeah, this is like a solid idea. It wasn't executed as well as it could be, but I think super like good instinct here. And you brought it back around. You recovered well, which is Blight is important. But yeah, like as you play against better and better people or something like that, you'll find that like you'll need to be a little bit more like on the ball with those bounces. You have barbecue and chili. Of course, this is really smart because you have 2 people down here. You know the gen's being worked on. Just be aware that you have barbecue and chili too. Let's see what you do here. Hit. Yeah, that's what I would do too. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. She has dead hard. Very smart that you know she has dead hard and you waited it out. That was really, really smart. You waited to see what she was going to do, because if she just dead hearts again, what's the point? And these survivors are sort of throwing via altruism. This is good. You're in a good spot. You're in a really... And the fact that... Okay, so earlier, when the Elodie went downstairs, she went downstairs, the one who got unhooked. She got off hook, she went downstairs, she tapped the gen, right? So you popped it, and then she went down there, she tapped the gen again. And what's going to happen is you're going to be able to hook and then go down there and pop it again. Because you know that, 1, 2, 3 people were in this area. So that means only one other gen is being worked on, God knows where. So the good news is you could afford to use your pop a second time on this gen, and you're not going to be like losing like 3 gens, like boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? So you have such a strong start here. Let's see if we can keep it up. Super smart. I don't see anyone on barbecue, but we're not taking a lot of time to look either. No way out. No way out's pretty good on Blight. I feel like when it comes to no way out, you could probably just get used to killing everybody before the last, before the last gen's done. Wow, that is a farm. Don't hit Leon. Smart. So let me. Did we get stuck or did we lag? What happened here? So what this initially, what I expect this Ash was probably gonna do is he was gonna try to like borrow time unhook and then dead hard through the Leon. Is kind of what I had assumed. Like if he had to do that, I figured that's what he was probably gonna do, right? So that when he borrow time unhooks Leon, Leon's got the glory aura of Jesus and cannot be touched. And then he dead hards through Leon, you accidentally swing on Leon, and everybody's safe. Cool, no big deal. It's a really like not necessary play, to be honest, but so you waited, that's good. What happened here? I'm not sure if you were waiting out dead hard or not, but you didn't wait long enough and then borrow time. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure like what to talk about there. And you know what? With dead hard validation, odds are you weren't gonna hit him anyway. I like this play. I like it. Spicy. Oh, we messed up the trajectory though. There we go. You brought it back around. So yeah, be aware. Oh man, this was so cool, but super tough because he's already so far ahead that he can do so much. So like here, that was a good bounce. That was a good bounce to that wall. You maybe could have wrenched this. I think that you could have absolutely swung and hit him, but we don't know if he has dead hard. Yeah. So like you're hitting that area where you're like, in some cases you're like not planning far enough ahead or not planning enough bounce points. And then sometimes you're planning too many bounce points and it's allowing them time to get away. Super interesting. It means you're really thinking and trying to nail it. And that's good. This was good though. Super smart. That was a really great hit. Nothing bad to say about that whatsoever. We know Ashley J. Williams still downstairs. Gonna hit the side window. Yeah. So, in this case, as Blight, this is probably just like instinct of like, I don't know where he's at, blah, blah. But when you see this window's blocked, there's always, anytime this window in the House of Pain's blocked, the side window's open. So as Blight, I would have like gone maybe out and like bounced and then rushed him down. We'll see how this plays out though. I could be wrong. Slugging Leon's a decent idea. He could have DS. I worry that he still has DS. Yeah, I would have. Okay, so this is why I tell people, like, everybody, like, oh, I tunnel the survivors if they body block and things like that. At this point, like, Ash just healed again. Good Lord, he's been healing for a while. I would have chased the Ash down and left the Leon down, because if the Leon's down, he's out of commission. If you're chasing the Ash, he's out of commission. And that means that somebody else has to go get the Leon up. He might have Unbreakable, but assume the best, right? Which means only one person could be on a gen. So I would have gone for the Ash. That would have been the smarter play. He's already injured. Always think about D-Strike, right? Always think about D-Strike. People complain about like, oh, meta perks. This is a scenario where you could have absolutely played around this. And now you're in a position to like kind of have nowhere else to go besides to chase this dude because like it's kind of your fault, right? Okay. Be sure you're not putting yourself in those bad spots with those bounces. This was such a tough thing to watch. Also, when you're in a lethal rush, just let it go. Just like let yourself hit the I guess here's another thing to learn about Blight. If you swing, you have a faster cooldown, I believe. So I would have just lethal rush attack instead of wasting like all 5 like all your tokens are gone now, and you just have like 1, 2. So I'd be very careful about that. Break it. Okay. Smart. I'd break it. There you go. And now he's in the corner. This is super good. Good hit. Super strong. Everything about that was great. Let me break that down for people who don't understand exactly what happened. So in this particular case, like so if we back this up just like 5 seconds. The reason this works so well is because the wall is here. So you guys see the wall. So what happens is if you break the pallet facing this way, Leon has to do one of 2 things: run by you or run by you, right? In which case he's still hoping that Dead Hard works. Whereas if you as the killer had like walked around the tree and then broke the pallet this way, Leon would have like just been able to run to like the center of the map. You know what I mean? So this is super smart. This is super good. You played this really well. This is some of that basic killer stuff that every killer needs to learn before they really start like honing in on a specific killer's abilities. Really great. Sucks you have to tunnel him out because he made a poor choice. That's unfortunate for both him and for you. You could have gone for the Ash. More pressure would have been up. But right now, see, here's the thing. Because you've been chasing Leon for literally ever, you have the Ash, the Claudette, and the Elodie have likely been on gens for a decent enough amount of time for you to lose at least 2 here coming up. So, yes, is Leon going to go to stage 2? Yeah. Could Ash already have been hooked and you already have hooked somebody else? Also, yes. So you have to be like kind of aware of that stuff, you know? Okay. Barbecue and chili. So this, I think, is the wrong play. While, yes, that was the House of Pain over there. 1, every house on Haddonfield is the House of Pain. But 2, this gen is indefensible. You know, if you look at it, there's a gen here and there's a gen here. We know there's a gen in the House of Pain. This gen is so far out on its own, right? Like, if this was a map of Haddonfield and you had, like, the House of Pain and then the main house and then there was like the, I don't know, that looks sort of behind it, right? And there's a gen behind that and a gen here, and this gen could go, right? If you're trying to find like clusters to kind of defending the middle of the map is a lot better than having to run to the edge of the map. And even if there's not great clusters for you to defend, what is this, 4 gens, 5? Say there's like 1 here and then, I don't know, 1 here. It's usually how Haddonfield kind of looks. It's not great. So we have like 7 gens, and this isn't perfect. But the thing, in my opinion, is you'd want these outside gens to kind of try to get done, right? Because the worst thing that could happen would be for House of Pain gen, and then that gen, and then, I don't know, say this gen. Because now as killer, you have to like run to find people. I'm sorry. The worst thing to happen is if they did like the middle ones, right? So this, you know, maybe they do this one, right? And you got like 1 gen left, right? They've got 4 done. The worst thing that you would want to do is like have to like run all the way across the map back and forth to defend generate. Like you feasibly can't, even as Blight, like you feasibly cannot really do that, especially on Haddonfield, right? So you'd want to try to like help them cluster eliminate. So anyway, I digress. Going out here, I think you should absolutely let them do this one. I think you should have popped the House of Pain. Okay. Yeah, and that's also another huge issue with this area is like, if they're just hiding somewhere, good luck. So you pop that gen and you get nothing for it. I understand also the necessity to like, okay, I don't know where literally anybody is. I could spend 3 minutes like hunting for this person. Luckily they F up pretty hard there, but like that's kind of the Haddonfield curse is like people can run early really, really easily. That was unintended. I could kind of tell it looked like, but you got a hang of it pretty quick. This was so smart, and oh my god, that makes me so fucking upset. That was so smart. So it looks like this whole thing's been unintended, but what I will say is they dropped out of this window. You know that window is a direct drop here. This was 10,000 IQ Giga Brain strat. The only thing here is it just didn't execute on the hit very well. You have to assume people are going to kind of double back. It's like the nurse strat. I still think you could have hit this. I don't know what went wrong. Maybe just hit the button a little bit too late, but Leon's already healthy, so that's really important to know. Shouldn't fall for it, but you're Blight. You know she has Dead Hard. Don't confuse yourself now. Yeah, I don't know. She just didn't use Dead Hard. Cool. Solid down. Solid, like, making use of her hastiness. House of Pain gen is the gen that's done. And you notice there's a house of Pain gen, which is like the next door house, and then there's a gen right here. This would be the circle I would try to like keep together. Even if it's not a 3 gen, it's 2. Pop, not bad. Who are we? What are we gravitating to right now? There's certainly not a person this direction. Like, we missed the scratches entirely. Like, the scratches go this way, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they go up the telephone pole. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, pay attention to tracking. Just because a gen popped here doesn't mean you should waste 5 minutes trying to find the person who was here. Okay. A little bit nervous. So, listen to this again. There's 2 sets of footsteps, actually. You're, like, meters away from somebody. So let me turn this up a little bit. Oh, I can't turn it up. Okay, just listen very carefully. Yeah, you were, like, right next to the Claudette. And you just didn't hear it, and then didn't turn to take a look. So now we're actually just going to be looping around this awful house. Unless Leon fucks that up. Now, Leon is on death hook, so this is smart. So, like, go for him is not a bad idea. Why did we go on the outside? Was this an assumption? Like, he was going to go inside? I think you saw him for a moment look this direction, and you went, whoop. But... yeah, this is rough, because now he gets, like, a ton of free distance. The swing on Claudette was not ideal. If you're going to go for one person, like, you know, to, like, try to, like, get them out of the game, like, really go for them. Hitting that Claudette slowed you down enough, you know? Okay. So you're going to try the car tech again. Okay. You know to look down this time. That's not a bad idea. The thing about the car tech, I don't know what it's officially called, but the thing about this to make it work really well is you have to do it and then go very quickly. The more distance they have, because if you bounce here, okay, they're going to go opposite you because they know you're not going to really be able to curve this back around this direction, right? So this has to be like, you have to get very clean with it, right? Like mind game that way and then moonwalk, bounce, and go around. You know what I mean? So mind game and then moonwalk, bounce, go around. Like that's kind of the thing you would need to like really, because right now he can kind of tell you're like trying to line it up. You're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get it, and he can see what you're doing, right? So you're not exactly like a wizard. Also here, I'd be like a little careful. I don't honestly know why that didn't stun you. It is very, very close. But at this point, right as you see him starting to do this, start like sliding to the right. Start walking around. Just so you save yourself some time. Chase is taking a little longer than oh, okay. He didn't know how to continue that. All right. Easy down, I suppose. Good attempt. Nothing that you could necessarily do there. You don't have infectious or anything. You know, bait it out a little bit. She messed it up. Okay, what's going on up here? You know, we've got Ash. Yeah, it's been Ash for a minute. Okay. What you really need... Yeah. Okay, so I don't know why you went out that way. I feel like you kind of waste your own time a little bit. We know Ash went out the window behind you, and I'm sure the idea was like, oh, maybe he went like left. I don't know. I would have just dropped down the window that he just dropped out of, so I could follow his scratch marks directly behind him, right? Like if like he like this is the window and he's like whoa, and then he like whether he sits in the bush or he runs away, like you'll either see scratches or you won't. So you drop down the window and then you assess from there. But instead of dropping out the window, we go out the front door all the way around. I think we kind of wasted our own time a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure that I grasped what was happening here. Yeah, I mean, as I say, there he is. He was literally just waiting for you. I think the mouse DPI is a little high. I don't think you need it to be that high, but also swing, better swing. Like right here was a good swing moment, right? Because even if he throws this, okay, whatever, right? But like could have just swung. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong in this whole interaction. Your shoulder seems to have checked the tree. I think you could have swung, though. I think you could have had that. Maybe overcomplicating that process. It's really smart. Why wouldn't he? I would not break this. Okay. The reason I wouldn't break this is... watch how much distance he has. It's pretty clear to me that he's trying to leave, right? He's trying to get out, right? Typically, like, if he were trying to stay at the loop, he'd run this, like, a little tighter. But there's a lot of space between him and the pallet. So I wouldn't necessarily immediately break this. Like, I would... see where he's going first. Oh. Okay. We're gonna go try to stop the gen. Smart. At that point, why break the pallet at all, I suppose? What happened here? She dropped down. I'm trying to see if I see her or what exactly happened here. 0.5. All right. Let's see what happened. This was tough. Whatever she did it pretty well. So okay, so I vaguely see her. Oh, yeah, she literally goes in the door. She literally just turns right. I thought to myself, I said the two options are she's in the locker, but she would have shown scratches, even if it was quick and quiet. But there's scratches right here at the door. Okay. Learning moment for both of us. The one thing I will be like super strict on here though is the fact that like we didn't see scratches, so we left. Like there's no world where she wouldn't have scratches out here. So yeah, the fact that you weren't like, like at some point when you're like, there's no scratches, she couldn't have gone this way. No, instead you're like, there's no scratches. Keep going that way. Maybe she tricked us somehow, like with a perk that doesn't exist, right? You know, we know that she doesn't have like, you know, any scratch mark removing perk, you know, poised a gen has to pop, you know. She left scratches after she vaulted, so that's not, you know, so be very careful not to just like follow your own brain, right? Like use the evidence, not the assumptions, you know. Good idea. Don't know that you would have ever really hit that. That's tough. So somebody else is going to get that gen done. You really don't have much of a choice here. Super good. You're not wrenching your mouse enough when you swing is what I'm noticing. Where do you start your swing? Let me take a look. Yeah, for some reason, when you swung, like, for me personally, like, when I swing as Blight, I'm like I just swing it. Like, give me the furthest swing I can. I just move the whole, just huck the damn thing, all right? But, like, here, if you take a look at this, when you're playing as Blight here, like, this should be a hit. There's no world where this shouldn't be a hit. But because we're not, like, flicking the mouse. Look, the Blight hitbox is big. It's big. When you're in rush, that thing is, it's wide, right? It's like shoulder to shoulder. I would have wrenched it to the right. It would have been really hard for him to dodge it. I think you were like, oh, I'm just going to swing forward. Like, how would he dodge this, right? I think that comes back to bite you in the ass here. And a few times over the course of like just the match in general. Oh, and he found another pallet. Oh god. Oh man, two whiffs in a row. That he's feeling on top of the world right now. Finally got it down though. Yeah, I'd have been very careful there. I think this match started to fall apart a little bit when you gave the team too much space at the beginning, right? When you had Leon down and you picked him up for the D strike, and then Ash got to go heal and run to a gen. And everybody else got to run to a gen. You just kept chasing Leon. I think it would have been much better to split the pressure there. Blight is really good at doing that and slugging people and really making the most out of that. Don't be afraid to slug people. There you go. Learn when to give up on the rushes. Decent hit. Let's see what happens. Let's see what she does. She has Dead Heart. She's just not using it. I think you're overcomplicating your bounces by like a pretty darn large margin here. So let's rewatch this here. It's not awful. I think I see your intent there. Like, you know, just try to catch up on the straightaway. Again, when you try to dash as Blight, always try to consider where is the survivor going to go? Not just where am I going to go? Where's that survivor headed? And, like, really try to make use of that. Yeah, I don't think we're turning our mouse quite enough when we swing. Still, by a lot of definitions, this would be like MMR did its job. You know, 2 dead, 2 potential escapes. Yeah, 2 escapes there. So not an awful match. I think you have like super good tendencies. I think there's a lot of like really smart stuff happening. And I think you're trying like high level tech, I guess, right? And bouncing and curving all the way around the truck or the car. And you could do that at Shack, bounce at Shack and go all the way around. Be sure that you're doing a really good job at like drifting sort of as Blight. You know, you're looking down to shrink that hitbox super good. And also, again, know the size of the hitbox and swing appropriately. I didn't see enough like hard turns or curves. Aside from that, just general killer stuff it's okay to slug and go for somebody else. Remember that D-strike is always a threat, right? And if somebody is slugged, the fact that somebody else has to come pick them up, yeah, they might have Unbreakable. It's certainly possible, but even if they're down and you're chasing somebody else, there's still 2 people that are out of commission, right? In the case here where we chase Leon for quite a while after he DS'd you, 3 people were able to sit on gens for 20, 30, 40 seconds, and that's too long. You gave them space, and they took it, and it was hard to come back from there. So not a bad match, though. GG's. Of course, if you guys like this video, hit the subscribe button, and if you guys want to submit your own gameplay, be sure you hop into our Discord, where you'll be able to submit gameplay videos in the DBD match review segment. Thank you guys for being here, of course. My name's Dylan, and I'll be praying to the entity to see you in the next one.